Part 11. Unstable Equilibrium. Friday, July 22nd. +1 NE. Chapter 37. Nice press conference, bro. The three Federation travelers exited the train and followed the flow of the crowd across the Legacy Bridge to the parade grounds. The whole area smelled of fresh-cut grass and cigarettes. Masked coalition protesters gathered by the thousands to rage against the press conference at the Officers' Club. Unlike the tech zombies on the light rail, these protesters paid attention to the trio's presence. "Do you guys feel like prey right now?" Marcus spoke over his shoulder, skirting the massive mob. "The Pomerium will protect us," Monica declared. "Don't count on it," Brad cautioned. "The university decided to downsize its go zone for the summer semester. The buildings are still fortified, but the parade grounds aren't." "Why would they do that?" Marcus rasped. "Never underestimate the short-sightedness of virtue-signaling intellectuals," Brad replied. "The faculty believes the Pomerium sends the wrong message about the safety of public spaces." Marcus took a deep breath. "Should we have gotten a Federation Forces escort then?" "We don't need one," Brad boasted. An army of vigilante enforcers encircled them, their faces dripping with summer sweat and aberrant anger. Their howling was imperceptible from the roar of the bigger coalition crowd. Brad was coolly confident. Marcus slipped into fight mode when a pair of protesters spat at him, sending saliva speeding past his head as others sprayed unknown liquids from their water bottles. Marcus recoiled, but the fluid stopped midair, sliding down an invisible force field contoured to his body's outline. The mob was momentarily immobilized, confused at what they were seeing. In the absence of another strategy, the coalition comrades defaulted to violence. Dozens of attackers lurched from their lines, swinging poles and bike locks. But it was all in vain. Every strike was blocked at a safe distance from their intended targets. In a blind rage, one morbidly obese man mustered all his might to charge at Marcus and his companions, crashing headlong into the invisible force field and knocking himself out cold. "They can't touch us," Brad declared. "It's the same protective technology we use at the black market. Just smile and keep moving." The impotent mob parted like a sea before them. Brad, Marcus, and Monica strolled away, immune from intimidation or violence. The Officers' Club overflowed with people from the press. "No one has a camera," Marcus murmured. "They're live-streaming it with tech," Monica clarified. At the front of the room were a riser and a rostrum. A banner of white honeycombs displayed Project Noble's objective statement in golden-filled tiles, flanked on either side by the Federation's logo. Brad faced the incognito duo. "Hang back until I signal you, then join me at the front of the room. I don't want your presence to distract from the first part of today's announcement." Marcus and Monica nodded. "I apologize for the late start," Brad spoke from the rostrum. "I was delayed by a gathering of your best ambassadors whose enthusiasm was only matched by their extreme emotional stability." "Is it just me?" Monica whispered. "Or does Brad remind you of a child? Not physically, but like man-childish?" "For sure," Marcus snickered. "It's the oversized lab coat." "Alrighty then, let's get started." Brad took his glasses off and rubbed the bridge of his nose before placing them back on his face. "Today marks the most important gathering since we started our press tradition 7 weeks ago. Following 586 days of research, we'll reach the M1 milestone in the next week, give or take a day." A wave of elation traveled through the press faster than the speed of sound. All were standing. "Please sit down," Brad begged. "Please, people, sit. Sit down." Slowly, one by one, they all complied. "Great, thank you. Let's stay civil and we'll make it through this together, okay? Now, M1 marks the end of Project Noble's research phase. So we'll be putting that behind us. In its place, Earth will start the full social, economic, and political integration with the Federation. I'm willing to answer questions about M1, but given our limited time today, I'd rather focus on how you'll make it to the next milestone, M2. A large, well-dressed woman from the press kicked things off. "My question has 2 parts. First, how does the completion of M1 affect the average person, since for most people life has gone on like normal after arrival? Second, what will life look like after M1, during the lead-up to M2? "Life will continue, like it always has," Brad explained. "People will live and work and die. but a chosen few will be given the opportunity to train in our agoge, a hybrid of fact education, the Federation Technology Acceleration Program at the Black Market, the Federation Forces Boot Camp, and the research work happening at my lab. Your form's ability to reach M2 will depend on the performance of this select group, just like it is dependent on the cohorts to reach M1. What can you tell us about the agoge? The woman asked. It's a Federation way of living, immersive. Those chosen to participate will spend every minute of the day, not just the waking ones, expanding minds through rigorous education, conditioning bodies through intense physical training, and developing internal spirit through social participation. The agoge is the next level of polish for the praetors, operators, and citizens currently being trained in the various parts of our collaboration under Project Noble. How will you select participants? Priority status will be given to fact students and connectors, operators from the Federation forces, and members of the cohort, since those designations will continue to exist beyond the agoge. However, the designation someone comes into the agoge with is not necessarily the one they'll go back to. The choice will be up to the participants. A few wildcard individuals outside of the designations I just listed will be invited as well. The press was silent, so Brad provided a simplifying metaphor. You should think about the agoge as a training system that will take minor league players and prepare them for the big leagues. Can anyone volunteer? The same woman asked. Yes, but that doesn't mean you'll be accepted. How can the rest of us help then? Keep living your lives. Next question, please. A tall black man rose. What are the various human governments at all levels doing to prepare for the next phase of integration? Great question, Brad encouraged. We've been working closely with national leaders around the planet. Each of them will release their game plan for the various local governments under them. Their strategies are based on the information we've shared and which they felt were valuable. Those documents will be made available the first Monday following the completion of M1. From your own comments, a wiry old man questioned, it's taken 18 months for the cohort to help us reach the first milestone. If that time trend continues, are we really going to be ready to face the Confederation? Or are we being kept calm as we're led to an inevitable slaughter? Thanks for the unbiased question. Brad flashed a dissatisfied smile. Staying positive never hurts. As for being ready in time, we only predict ahead to the next milestone, and we're expecting 3 years for your form to reach M2. Back of the napkin math, the man mocked, says that only leaves a year to get from M2 to the full battle readiness of M3. That can't be enough time, can it? I sure hope so, Brad grinned. Brad's humor got more gasps than laughs. Why aren't the Federation forces enough? Someone shouted. You have to crawl before you walk. Let's back up a second. There are 0 earthly technologies capable of penetrating the Confederation's force fields, which are wrapped around every one of their soldiers, vehicles, and fortifications. That's the bad news and the hard reality. The good news, and the reason to be hopeful about the future, is that power gloves on the right operator's arms can cut through the force fields. There are 2,000 individuals presently enlisted in the Federation forces, but their skills, strengths, and armaments aren't fully developed yet. Even after M2, they won't be enough. Getting to M3 is a push. Why can't we shift the order around then and prepare the military forces first? Asked a young beanie-wearing male journalist from the back. Because you also have to learn to walk before you run. Everything builds on itself. The systems to supply a prolonged conflict don't exist, not yet. Together, we'll build the web of social, economic, and political systems needed to wage a successful defense against the Confederation. The room was silent. Next question. Brad called on a young woman down front. At your first press event, you asked members of the media to defer our questions about the Confederation's forces until... Brad pressed his mouth to the mic. I agree with your history. That's nice, so will you answer them now? You won't know till you ask, Brad replied. The doomsday clock will hit 0 on August 26th, plus 5 NE. Since the distance from Proxima Centauri to Earth is known, the Confederation invasion must be moving at 99.99% the speed of light. What does this invincible invasion force actually look like? Lend me your ears, Brad proclaimed, head held high. Stay positive. I'll say it again because you're not listening. Positivity, people. If you start to believe this is a lost cause, that's what you'll have. If you want to thrive, then focus only on what's in front of us right now. Within that, drill down even further to the parts we can control, keeping in mind that you have our help. Everything beyond that subset of reality is a distraction, which is draining you of scarce time, attention, and life force. Marcus was gripped by déjà vu. Will you please answer the question? She pushed back. What can you tell us about their forces? What are we going up against? I promise that the Federation will hold a deeper conversation on this topic, and only this topic in the near future. But we're getting into the weeds. There are other things we need to talk about today. Also, the answers to your question and all its dependent parts will be common knowledge at every level of society very, very soon. For now, I'll tell you the Confederation is coming in 5 distinct waves. Each is staggered to arrive at Earth 1 week after the one ahead of it. Because of the time dilation for their soldiers, who you already know are physically indistinguishable from your form, it's a comfortable 22-day journey spent in stasis. Brett had omitted any mention of the Confederation giants, Marcus thought. Because they weren't part of the invasion? Or was he still playing things close to the chest with the press to preserve public order? While they're resting, their soldiers' bodies, minds, and spirits are being drilled for the moment they reach Earth. Their objective is constantly echoing around in their heads during those 22 days. Capture, contain, kill. So, Brad dropped both arms onto the rostrum. They plan to capture and enslave you. If that fails, they'll contain you to this planet like a prison. If capturing or containing proves impossible, they'll simply kill all but 0.0000001% of you. The media gasped at Brad's matter-of-factness. Someone shouted at Brad from the back row. It was a voice Marcus recognized within the first 4 words. Nice press conference, bro! Jordan stood over the rest of the press, slowly golf-clapping. I think I speak for all of humanity when I say that your announcement of an announcement is a stroke of smokescreen brilliance. Really, bravo, bro, bravo! I'm unsure why you consider this a smoke, Jordan cut Brad short. You've been stalling for weeks now. In fact, I can't think of anything new you've told the public since the first press conference in early June. Then today we're suddenly on the cusp of milestone success? Sorry, I don't buy it. Which part in particular? Brad challenged. How does the Federation know all of these details? To me, the most logical explanation is that you are the Confederation. You're 2 sides of the same face. You keep us here running on hamster wheels and showering us with positivity porn from the sky. The whole time, you're collecting data and running experiments, which are totally going to help us fight in the future. Jordan winked. Let's put your infinite wisdom to the test for a moment, and I'll ask some questions. But I want to mix it up. I'll propose one possible explanation as a launching off point. Then you jump in and discuss. All faces frowned at Jordan's breach of protocol. I'm game. Brad stood confidently. Great! Jordan launched into it. First question. Why has the weather gotten more erratic day by day since your arrival? Answer. You're manipulating our environment to induce anxiety in the population. We have no... Actually, could I just read down my list? Jordan held a piece of paper over his head. Then I'll take your answers off air. Question number 2. Why has the number of tech zombies and pod people permanently living in voyeur networks both skyrocketed? Answer. Because you're gradually boiling us in our own endogenous chemicals stimulated by tech and the PSAs. Question. Why are crop circles popping up all around the world? Answer. They're beacons to provide landing coordinates for the Federation's invasion force. Question. Why are there unprecedented swings in the Schumann resonances? Answer. You're messing with the magnetite in our brains. Question. Why has the number of stray pets doubled during the last 2 weeks? Answer. Jordan's last metric tickled a wave of laughter from the room. Excellent questions, really great stuff. It'll make a baller YouTube SmackDown video. I'll make sure to like and subscribe to your channel after you post it. Brad eclipsed Jordan's earlier enthusiasm for slow clapping. Till then, here are my answers. We're not messing with the weather. We're not making anyone use tech, just like we don't control how they choose to use it. Crop circles ain't us, brother, but they are pretty. The Schumann resonances are always moving, and finally it's summer, so people lose their pets because everyone's outside. But I'll be happy to help you put up flyers if you've lost a loved one. Every person in the room gawked at Jordan. He was silent. Let me cut through the noise and answer your ultimate question, Brad began. The Federation has an infinite number of great minds like mine already working on Project Noble. I'm one tiny part. I think I'm an important part, but I'm still just a researcher. If you feel like I can't provide clear answers and would like to speak with my manager, just find me outside before you leave today and I'll make an intro for you. I know a goose chase when I see one. You're stalling for time, Jordan dismissed. Marcus was sweating under his exo. suppressing the storm of fury brewing inside. "I'll make you a deal," Brad offered with his signature smile. "I'll ensure you have a front row seat at the finish line for M1. Is it a date?" All eyes were on Jordan. "Fine, but know that I'll make you wait a few dates before you can probe me." The room let out a laugh of relief, but Marcus held on to his anger. "Next question," Brad said, calling on a reporter. "Who are the superheroes standing at the back of the room?" asked a man from the media. "My mother would slap me for the lack of manners," Brad said. "The top-performing members of the cohort." The room jumped to their feet, competing for the first look as Marcus and Monica walked through the crowd and joined Brad on stage. "Is one of you Marcus Adams?" the large woman from before barked. "Yes," Marcus answered. The room twisted again. "What's your name?" Jordan shouted at Monica. "You can call me M." Brad was still smiling. "M&M is what we call them at the lab." "What are you wearing?" asked a local newsman. Monica swooped in like a knight to describe their armor. "It's called an exo. We wear them during our experiments." "Is this the next Federation technology to be shared with humanity?" the beanie-wearing reporter asked. "One of them, yes," Brad said bluntly. The room was roaring now. Every person from the press was asking a flurry of short, quick questions. Brad demonstrated incredible lung capacity, shushing them back to a calm quiet. "This suit is designed from the organics material we use at the lab, the black market, and in the power gloves," Brad explained. "It allows us to capture full-body data from the cohort. With that information, we can also improve and empower the defensive and offensive decision-making abilities of the Federation Forces operators. Better data allows for better decisions. The prototype you're looking at was fine-tuned in my lab. A secondary benefit of the broader research I'm conducting. Everyone in the Agoge will be trained to use an exo, but only operators who graduate will be given one." Marcus didn't hear any of Brad's other answers. He was lost in an internal loop, rehashing Jordan's interrogation and getting angrier for it with each replay. Thankfully, no one could see the animosity written plainly across his masked face. Marcus was pulled out of his own mind and back to the press conference when someone asked about the 500-fold price increase for tech. Brad shook his head. "Did you already forget what I told you a few weeks ago?" "So, you still don't have an answer," the reporter retorted. "I don't, because the Federation has no control over tech prices. That question is better directed to TechMart's owner, Benedict Darrow. If you want an update on tech production, however, M&M are eager to tell you what's new with the cohort." "The price crisis is only affecting tech's secondary markets," Monica explained. "TechMart is still selling new units for $999, like the first day they opened." "If you can get one," someone shouted. "I know availability is hurting all tech enthusiasts, and I speak for the entire cohort when I say we're working hard to provide more units. But there are only 24 hours in a day." Marcus bit his tongue to keep from laughing at the absurdity of Monica's disinformation campaign. "Is Benedict intentionally restricting the supply of tech, as some analysts claim?" asked another reporter. "Absolutely not," Monica fired back. "I know from my own business dealings with Mr. Darrow that TechMart is doing everything it can to keep units moving. They have a highly complex operation and do an exceptional job of optimizing it. You should see how hard they negotiate with us. They bust our balls." The room laughed harder than it had at Jordan. "It's basic techonomics," Monica lectured. "Last month, the world hit a different milestone. 5 billion unique, active monthly tech users. That's 3 of every 5 people alive. And every day, more people discover the benefits of tech. They tell their family and friends about it, and they become users too. Supplying the whole world, especially when demand for tech shows no signs of slowing, isn't an easy problem to solve." "Do you support TechMart's recent adoption of a pyramid scheme to expand beyond the black market?" asked the young female reporter. "Multi-level marketing isn't a pyramid scheme," Monica exclaimed. "From the execution plan Mr. Darrow shared with the cohort, which he's since made public, I think the move makes sense. It allows TechMart to leverage the organic person-to-person growth already driving adoption. So you disagree with legal experts that it's really a loophole to enter communities that want to keep a physical TechMart store from opening. I won't speculate on hypotheticals, but I have full faith in TechMart and the integrity of Mr. Darrow. His team works hard every day to supply tech to everyone who wants it. For my part, all I can do is promise to put in extra hours and encourage the other members of our cohort to do the same." Monica was met with applause. Everyone, including Marcus, was captivated by her stage presence and grace. This was the confident, fearless woman he fell for at Nerio. But Marcus was the only person in the officers' club, Brad excluded, who knew the ridiculous reality behind her statements. Regardless, it worked, and she delivered the kind of reassurance the media was craving. "This is a natural place to end," Brad said from the rostrum. "The next time you hear from us, we'll be celebrating our progress and moving on to M2. Jordan stroked his beard, frowning at the back of the officers' club. This was the moment, Marcus thought. The time to release his rage and turn the tables on Jordan. To make him pay for his many acts of interference and aggression toward Brad. Right here, right now.